as much as it sucks, there are still a lot of inequities. I think, it's a really tough thing. I think for me, the biggest thing that I've seen or I've experienced is being, and it happens to everybody in a lot of careers, is being the only. For a long time when when I was an undergrad, I was the only black, I was the only person of color in a lot of my classes. When I moved to graduate school, they had actually made a lot of effort to try to change that. And so they have been recruiting quite a few, unrepresented minority students to Duke, which is a really fantastic thing. And they had actually opened in what they call the Office of Biomedical Graduate Diversity at the time. That was run by a wonderful mentor of mine named Sherilyn Black, who was actually one of the first Black scientists to graduate from our neuroscience program. But she had just graduated when I started, and I was like, "It's 2010. Like, what do you mean you were the first Black person?" For me in academia, it's been just a lack of visibility and a lack of people to sort of look up to that have gone through a lot of the same things I have. And it still comes with its challenges, and there are people who don't care and who think that diversity should not be a thing, and they are removed when necessary or moved to new places. But I think it's those kinds of things will hopefully change in the near future. But I remember thinking, I did it, and now I have to make sure that if there's a kid who looks like me behind me and wants to do this, I'll figure out how to get them here. And so for me, one of the things that I do a lot of is I actually have quite a few undergraduates in my lab who are, almost all of them are underrepresented in science. And they, want a place to work, and they want to learn how to do science, and they're different. And I think I do it quite a bit, and I think a lot of the other faculty members in our center do. And so we love having undergraduates and grad students around. And I'm learning more about how to be a better diversity advocate, people around the country doing to be more inclusive and change their diversity. And if they're not doing things and they're saying things like, well, we don't know how to do it, I can now step in and say, okay, here are some options or some things that worked for me, or things that I know people that look like me would like. If this is something that you're interested in, I will gladly help you get this programs up and running. Start teaching people what kinds of careers, or, even if you just said, after you finish, if you like science, you can go to medical school, you can go to graduate school, you can go to dental school. Okay, these are your sort of four. Maybe you don't like teeth, so you definitely don't want to go to dental school. Okay, so now you cut it down to these two. And then if you pick PhD, okay, here are all of the things you can do at the back end with a PhD. And then, like I said earlier, letting kids sort of say, here are things that I think I like. And then if there was some way for them to be able to say, like, these are the things I like, here are all the careers that work for that. And then they could figure out, do I need just a bachelor's degree? Do I need a master's? Do I need 2 masters? Do I need a PhD? I think would be really helpful, because it would give you a better standing of what does your academic trajectory look like early on. So, some kid is going to watch this and be like, I do not want to be in school for 16 years. There's no way. But I really like the job he has. Well, maybe you don't need to run a research lab. Maybe you manage a research lab, and you're the lab manager for somebody who does the job that I do, and you only need a bachelor's degree for that. So I think it would be really nice. I think this is the kind of thing that will be really helpful for those kids to just sort of see, here are all the different career options you can have. What do you need to do them? Oh, I don't even need that. Okay, cool. Then I don't have to ever think about going to grad school. I can just finish college and then go into my career.